demand from tech giants such as Microsoft, Amazon, and Google all racing to find sufficient clean power to feed data centers underpinning the AI boom is turbocharging the nuclear revival. Brad Smith, president of Microsoft, explains that even before AI, his firm's promise to remove more greenhouse gases than it contributed was ambitious. Now, thanks to AI, he reckons Microsoft will consume 5 to 6 times as much electricity by 2030 as it had anticipated. Okay, so demand बढ़ती जा रही है. As we know that this AI is a power guzzler, and huge energy is required in order to power those kind of huge servers or those huge machines that crunch these AI numbers. So demand from tech giants like these uh, for sufficiently clean power to feed data centers is now signaling a nuclear revival. Now, thanks to AI, he reckons Microsoft will consume 5 to 6 times as much electricity. Nuclear power is well suited to data centers because it provides a reliable source of clean energy around the clock, unlike wind and solar. Fine. The vast scale of nuclear power plants also make them attractive. Running an AI data center can require as much as gigawatt, which would be provided by millions of solar panels or just a single nuclear power plant. So, डेटा सेंटर के लिए न्यूक्लियर क्यों रिलायबल है, क्यों सूटेड है? क्योंकि ये एक रिलायबल सोर्स ऑफ एनर्जी राउंड द क्लॉक देता है. विंड और सोलर जो है वो राउंड द क्लॉक नहीं देते हैं. सो दिस इज एन इंपॉर्टेंट आइडिया हियर. एंड द वास्ट स्केल ऑफ दीस आल्सो मेक देम अट्रैक्टिव बिकॉज इसमें गीगावाट तक की पावर चाहिए. अगर हमें सोलर पे डिपेंड करेंगे देन वील नीड मिलियंस ऑफ सोलर पैनल्स. So instead of that, we just take one single nuclear power plant. So this first paragraph tells you that how the demand from all these tech giants is fueling the nuclear power revival. Unfortunately, there are few decommissioned nuclear reactors in America, Europe, and Japan suitable for big tech to resurrect. तो अब फ्यू मतलब कि है ही नहीं. तो डीकमीशन न्यूक्लियर रिएक्टर नहीं है अमेरिका, यूरोप और जापान में. अगर डीकमीशन होते तो उनको रिजरेक्ट कर सकते हैं, उनको रिवाइव कर सकते हैं, लेकिन वहां पे है ही नहीं. न्यू प्लांट्स विल देयरफॉर नीड टू बी बिल्ट. तो नए प्लांट बनाने पड़ेंगे. दीज प्रोजेक्ट्स absorb enormous amount of capital and are sensitive to interest rate fluctuations and delays. A case in point is the recently opened Wattle nuclear power plant in Georgia, America's first in decades. It came in far over the budget and behind schedule. One way for tech giants to mitigate the risk is to bring in outside investors. Last month, Microsoft teamed up with BlackRock and others to launch a $30 billion infrastructure fund devoted to AI. Smith expects it to finance nuclear projects, among other things. So here, what he's saying is that अगर न्यूक्लियर पावर रिवाइव हो रही है तो आपके पास में कुछ अगर डीकमीशन न्यूक्लियर रिएक्टर्स हैं देन यू कैन पुट देम टू टू यूज अगेन. बट है ही नहीं तो आपको नए डालने पड़ेंगे और उसमें ह्यूज अमाउंट ऑफ कैपिटल लगता है और वो इंटरेस्ट रेट फ्लक्चुएशन और डिलेज से सेंसिटिव और ससेप्टेबल होते हैं. उसका एग्जांपल दे दिया वोटल न्यूक्लियर प्लांट. ये काफी बजट से ऊपर चला गया और बिहाइंड शेड्यूल रन कर रहा है. तो रिस्क मिटिगेट करने के लिए आपको आउटसाइड इन्वेस्टर्स लाने पड़ेंगे. तो माइक्रोसॉफ्ट लेके आ गया ब्लैक रॉक और एक 30 बिलियन इंफ्रा फंड लॉन्च किया उसने जो कि एआई को डिवोटेड है. तो इससे फाइनेंस करेंगे न्यूक्लियर प्रोजेक्ट्स अमंग अदर थिंग्स. At the same time, tech titans have taken a growing interest in SMR, small modular reactors. Currently, there are only two in operation in China and Russia, but Western manufacturers such as GE, Vernova, and Rolls-Royce have been busily developing them, as have numerous startups. So SMR, small modular reactors, India भी काफी इसमें interested है. We've signed some deals with France. Uh, so tech titans have also taken an interest in that. अभी दो चल रहे हैं, एक चाइना में और रशिया में. लेकिन ये जो हमारे जी और ये जो यूएस की कंपनीज हैं ये इसे डेवलप कर रहे हैं. टेट्रा पावर बैक्ड बाय TerraPower, backed by Bill Gates, is building its first plant in Wyoming. Oklo, which counts Sam Altman of AI among its backers, intends to deploy several small nuclear plants by 2030. तो यहाँ पे न्यूक्लियर प्लांट की अब एक बाढ़ सी आने वाली है. Small. Earlier this year, it signed an agreement to provide Equinix with 500 megawatt of clear nuclear power that includes a prepayment to help fund construction. There are more SMRs planned or under construction in America than anywhere else, thanks in part to the enthusiasm from tech. Oracle recently unveiled plans for a gigawatt scale data center powered by three SMRs. Sundar Pichai, the board of boss of Google, confirmed that his firm is also looking into SMR to power its data centers. So this paragraph tells you that how SMRs are now coming at the center of this whole issue, and how all these tech companies are either having plans or they've already launched plans to use these or build these SMRs. Still, the technology behind SMRs remain unproven at scale. Meanwhile, the uncertain price tag of building conventional nuclear power plants will continue to weigh on the industry's growth. The big tech's hope of powering the AI revolution without spewing carbon. Chris Womack, CEO of Sun Company, reckons that public support would help. तो अभी एसएमआर के संग प्रॉब्लम ये कि अनप्रूवन है और प्राइस टैग अनसर्टन है कन्वेंशनल न्यूक्लियर पावर प्लांट्स का. और जो इसलिए इनकी जो होप्स है वो अभी इतनी राइज नहीं कर रही हैं. क्रिस फोमा कह रहे हैं कि पब्लिक सपोर्ट से हेल्प हो जाएगी। गवर्नमेंट मस्ट प्रोवाइड सम कॉस्ट ओवररन इंश्योरेंस, तो ये जो कॉस्ट ओवररन हो जाता है इसका इंश्योरेंस गवर्नमेंट को देना चाहिए। स्ट्रीमलाइनिंग लेंथी परमिटिंग प्रोसेस वुड बी इवन बेटर। Government certainly seem to be warming towards nuclear power, pointing to the surge in demand from AI. The head of Emirates Nuclear Energy Corporation declared, "We have witnessed a stretch change in momentum. For it to continue, a mix of technical ingenuity, financial wizardry, and supportive policy will be needed." So challenges are there. SMR technology अभी proven नहीं है, और दूसरी बात यह है कि जो कन्वेंशनल न्यूक्लियर पावर प्लांट्स है उनके कॉस्ट का इशू है, तो गवर्नमेंट्स को हेल्प करना चाहिए, लोग कह रहे हैं। और जो एमिरेट्स के हेड हैं एआई के, वो कह रहे हैं कि अ, हमें एक टेक्निकल इंजेन्युइटी चाहिए, फाइनेंशियल विजार्डरी चाहिए, एंड a supportive policy in order to boost this. So this passage focused on how the tech giants are looking at nuclear power to power their data centers which are going to come by 2030. And since there are not many conventional power plants out there lying in these countries. So they are trying to create new ones, but then uh, those are those are laced with challenges like project delays and cost overruns. Small modular reactors seem to be the answer, but again, the technology at that scale remains unproven. Therefore, the industry experts are expecting the government to pitch in and support policies should be given by them. The process should be streamlined. राइट, पैसेज इंटरेस्टिंग था, जैसा कैट के होते हैं, सो इट्स गुड पैसेज। IMS chose a good passage. Let's look at what they can do with the questions, because questions, see, this kind of passage is not very difficult to understand, and there's a limit to which you can go in order to make this challenging. देखो, सबसे पहले इंपॉर्टेंट ये है कि क्वेश्चन किस तरह के बन सकते हैं। तो क्वेश्चन जब बनाता है कोई भी, जिसने भी ये सेट किया है, तो वो देखता है कि कहीं कोई ऐसी लैंग्वेज है, कहीं कोई ऐसी डिफिकल्ट इडियम्स हैं, या कोई डिफिकल्ट फिगर ऑफ स्पीच है, या फिर कोई वोकैब ऐसी है, या फिर कोई एक सेंटेंस का स्ट्रक्चर ऐसा है जो कि कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है। वहां पे टेस्ट किया जा सकता है, दे आर टेस्टिंग योर रीडिंग स्किल्स। बट मेनी टाइम्स I've seen that this kind of straightforward passages, because there is not much to test by way of your reading skills, they try to create their own quirks or other questions, which options which are quite funny and illogical. तो देखते हैं क्या इसमें भी ऐसा कुछ किया है। So let's look at the first question. According to the passage, the current appeal of nuclear energy is attributed to all of the following except. तो न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी की अपील क्यों है? तो इनमें से तीन रीजंस हैं, एक नहीं है। SMR's commercial viability and transformative impact on clean energy. See, current appeal of nuclear energy is attributed to not SMR's commercial viability. SMR is one option which they are looking at, because the big conventional power plants have their own challenges. But is it attributed to this? No. अगर ये तब होता जब SMR बहुत अच्छा चल रहा होता, it would have been established at a proven scale, on that scale. तो इसलिए this looks to be the answer here. We'll hold it. The need for stable clean energy to power large data center. ये तो साफ बोला है यहाँ पे उन्होंने कि बहुत सारी क्लीन एनर्जी चाहिए इन्हें, right? Reliable, clean source of energy for data centers. So uh, this is not the answer, because definitely current appeal is attributed to this. Big tech and startups investing heavily in nuclear infrastructure. So current appeal of nuclear energy is attributed to big tech and startups investing heavily in nuclear infrastructure. Current appeal of nuclear energy is, does it make sense? इसको रख लेता हूँ अभी। Scalability and 24/7 reliability as an alternative to wind and solar. This looks to be okay because it is scalable, right? लिखा हुआ है कि it can be scalable, go up to gigawatt, and it is 24/7 available as against wind and solar. So this also is a very clear appeal. So this is also not the answer. Now let's look at these two. SMR's commercial viability and transformative impact, ये तो नहीं है sure. That means this could be the answer. Big tech and startups investing heavily in nuclear infra. Is this the appeal? Is this the current appeal, or is it the result? See, if nuclear energy is appealing to the tech giants, and therefore big tech and startups are investing heavily in nuclear infrastructure, is it this supposed to be the cause and this the effect, or this is the cause? The way, so the answer given here is one here. Okay, जो official answer उन्होंने दिया है वो one दिया है, which is fine. I agree that one is not something to which the current appeal is attributed to. But is C the correct? Can you eliminate C? I don't think that current appeal is attributed to big tech and startups investing heavily in new. Big tech and startups तो इसमें invest इसलिए कर रहे हैं because it is appealing, not because वो invest कर रहे हैं therefore it is appealing. तो कॉज एंड इफेक्ट क्या है? लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड दिस। इज द कॉज दैट लोग उसमें इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं, तो इफेक्ट ये है कि करंट अपील उसकी आ गई है, या फिर कि करंट अपील की करंट अपील है उसकी, पीपल आर लाइकिंग इट बिकॉज इट इज बिकॉज ऑफ दीज टू रीजंस, लेट्स से नीड फॉर स्टेबल क्लीन एनर्जी, स्केलेबिलिटी एंड रिलायबिलिटी, तो लोग इसमें इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं। क्या है? सो न्यूक्लियर पावर इज वेल सूटेड, अनफॉर्चुनेटली देयर आर फ्यू डीकमीशन्ड न्यू प्लांट। आई डोंट नो कहाँ से ए सी जो है, इसमें दोनों आंसर सही है एक्चुअली, ए भी सही है सी भी सही है, बट ही हैज पुट ए हियर, so I don't know how to honestly eliminate uh, C here. Okay, so that's my challenge. That simple question था, इसको आप सिंपल बना सकते थे, बट unnecessarily। अब इसका इसका इन्होंने रीजन क्या दिया है? The passage describes multiple investments in nuclear energy with companies like Microsoft, Oracle, and Google exploring nuclear options. It also mentions startups like TerraPower and Oklo which are working on nuclear projects. So is this the appeal, or is this the reason? I mean, is this the effect that because it is appealing, therefore these people are working there? So this is the challenge which is there with this kind of mocks. So मैं तो इसको भी मार्क करूंगा, ऑफिशियली उन्होंने ए आंसर दिया, राइट? सो लेट्स, सिंपल क्वेश्चन था अपेरेंटली, कुछ भी नहीं था इसमें, लेकिन उसको अननेसेसरली एक यूजलेस ऑप्शन को जस्टिफाई करके उन्होंने इसको बेकार बनाया। Author uses the example of Vogtle nuclear power plant to highlight all of the following concerns except, okay? पढ़ लेते हैं। तो वोक्टल पावर प्लांट के बारे में यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है कि एक केस इन पॉइंट मीन्स कि क्या दिखाने के लिए कि ये प्रोजेक्ट्स इनॉर्मस अमाउंट्स ऑफ कैपिटल एब्जॉर्ब करते हैं और सेंसिटिव है इंटरेस्ट रेट फ्लक्चुएशंस के लिए, और न्यू प्लांट्स नीड टू बी बिल्ट बिकॉज पुराने प्लांट्स नहीं है। तो मुझे दो चीजें यहाँ पे साफ दिख रही हैं कि वोक्टल पावर प्लांट का क्या उन्होंने मेंशन क्यों किया है। एक तो ये है कि वहाँ पे कोई पुराने कन्वेंशनल टाइप के पावर प्लांट नहीं है जिन्हें रीसेट किया जा सके। दूसरा ये है कि ये प्रोजेक्ट्स में काफी एनॉर्मस अमाउंट ऑफ कैपिटल लगता है और ये सेंसिटिव होता है, राइट? दीज आर द टू रीजंस। तो डिलेज एंड कॉस्ट ओवररन्स ऑफ बिल्डिंग न्यू प्लांट्स, बिल्कुल ठीक है, दिस इज नॉट द आंसर, एग्रीड। द रिस्क ऑफ एक्सपोजर ऑफ फ्लक्चुएटिंग इंटरेस्ट रेट्स, ठीक है, दैट इज ऑल्सो गिवन, इट इज ऑल्सो नॉट द आंसर। द अनसर्टनिटी अबाउट लॉन्ग टर्म रिटर्न ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट, बिल्कुल ठीक है, ये भी। द एब्सेंस ऑफ decommissioned plants, yes, this also is a reason why he has used the example, of Vogtle nuclear plant to highlight all of the following concerns except, see, ये जो आप यहाँ देखिए, there are few decommissioned nuclear reactors, new plants will therefore need to be built, these projects absorb enormous amounts of capital and are sensitive to this. The case in point is the recently opened Vogtle nuclear plant. So to my mind, he is also given this to support the view that there are few decommissioned power plants that can be resurrected, and therefore this Vogtle power plant has come up, and Vogtle power plant में ये सब problems है। तो मेरे हिसाब से ये भी highlight this concerns also that the absence of decommissioned plants ये है। तो इनफे से कोई भी आंसर मुझे नहीं लग रहा है इसने, लेकिन डी जस्टिफाई कर दिया। He has justified D, and let me read his explanation. The Vogtle nuclear plant is not a decommissioned one, as it is said to be America's first nuclear plant in decades. So the concerns are related to building new plants alone. I don't agree, because if suppose there were already decommissioned plants that could be revived, तो फिर वोक्टल पावर प्लांट नहीं बनता, जरूरत नहीं थी उसकी। तो ये भी एक कंसर्न है कि वहां पे इतने decommissioned पावर प्लांट्स नहीं। So to my mind, this also should have been a concern, but he feels that this is not a concern. So again, I've showed you now three questions so far, and all three questions have got problems, serious problems. Let's look at the next one. Which of the following is not an assumption underlying the main argument of the passage? Government will view nuclear power favorably to ease licensing and cost overruns. ठीक है, तो अगर हम न्यूक्लियर पावर प्लांट बना रहे हैं और उसमें इन्वेस्ट करेंगे, तो वी अज्यूम दैट गवर्नमेंट विल व्यू न्यूक्लियर पावर फेवरेबली एंड दे विल हैव गुड पॉलिसीज, राइट? वो मेंशन भी है, तो ठीक है, वी एग्री विद दिस दैट दिस इज एन assumption, तो नॉट द आंसर। न्यूक्लियर पावर इज द मोस्ट वायबल एनर्जी सोर्स टू मीट द डिमांड्स ऑफ AI ड्रिवन डेटा सेंटर्स। मोस्ट वायबल एनर्जी सोर्स कैन बी जस्टिफाइड? I don't think so. Can we assume it is most viable? There is nothing like it. See, he's saying that, okay, nuclear power is well suited to data centers because it provides a reliable source of clean energy around the clock, unlike wind and solar. The vast scale of nuclear power plants also make them attractive. But यहाँ पे कहीं पे भी ऐसा है क्या कि दिस इज द मोस्ट सुटेबल? मुझे तो नहीं लग रहा है ये भी। हाँ, it is a viable energy source, agreed. It is a very a potential energy source, agreed. But most viable, this most word, I don't think that this is an assumption. We will keep it. Demand for data center power needs to remain constant in foreseeable future. This is again not a assumption, because demand can increase also. Why would we say that it remains constant? So this is again an assumption. Big tech's drive towards clean energy will not wane despite economic pressures. Yes, ये भी हम बोल सकते हैं assumption है, because जो भी प्रेशर है उसके बावजूद इनकी ड्राइव वेन मींस वीक नहीं होगी और वेवर नहीं होगी, डिक्रीज नहीं होगी, राइट? सो दैट इज एन assumption we can safely say. So अब इन दोनों में से again I'm faced with the same problem. I find that both of them are not an assumption, because this most I can't support. अब इसने बी को लिखा है कि पैसेज सजेस्ट दैट न्यूक्लियर इज यूनिकली वेल सूटेड, नहीं है ऐसा कोई वर्ड यूनिकली जैसा, टू हैंडल एआई पावर, रिलायबल सोर्स ऑफ क्लीन एनर्जी, कॉन्ट्रास्ट विद विंड एंड सोलर। तो खाली विंड एंड सोलर से तो कॉन्ट्रास्ट किया है, बाकी किसी से तो नहीं किया उसने। emphasizing that renewables alone may not suffice. This suggests that nuclear is assumed to be the most viable, although not the only. So I don't know how he is justified, but both of these are, to my mind, not an assumption. So again, another challenging question. I mean, this one is actually really not a very good mock so far, as we can very well see. Let's look at the other one. The author's overall tone in the final paragraph can be described as. So overall tone in this paragraph, ये final paragraph में क्या है? ये unproven है, लेकिन फिर भी hope है उनको, तो ठीक है, optimistic है despite the challenges. Let's see क्या बोल रहा है ये. Guarded pessimism that stresses insurmountable financial की, ये तो overcome हो ही नहीं सकते, तो बिल्कुल ही गलत है. Measured optimism that acknowledges obstacles while outlining paths to progress. This looks fine. This looks fine. इसमें मुझे कोई दिक्कत नजर नहीं आ रही है. This looks fine. Measured optimism. A neutral stance that presents information without projecting an uncertain future. Neutral stance भी नहीं दिख रहा है मुझे. Without projecting an uncertain future भी नहीं है. This is also wrong. There is an uncertain future. Admissive, a dismissive tone, a dismissive tone that minimizes risks. Dismissive भी नहीं है, तो B सही है. तो इसमें से B, finally we get an answer which we agree upon. IMS and I agree upon this answer, that this is measured optimism. So finally, after four questions, we were able to find one where we are in sync, right? So let's go to the next one. ये पैसेज देखते हैं. Everywhere you turn, there is a talk of lived experience, but there is little consensus about what that phrase lived experience means, where it came from, and whether it has any value. Lived experience leaders movement explains that those who have lived experiences have direct first-hand experience, past or present, of the social issue or injustices. So lived experience क्या होता है? That suppose somebody is a black, and the person has got a lived experience of what it means to be black, or let's say gender identity, woman. So what it actually means to be a woman. So this is a lived experience, right? So what he's saying is that people who have direct first-hand experience of social justice, so their lived experience is basically what this lived experience leaders movement explains. But there is little consensus, because lived experience as per different people have got different meanings. So this lived experience leaders movement explains that people who have lived experiences that are direct first-hand are those. In 40s and 50s, existentialists adopted the language of lived experience, coinciding with the turn to the identity politics. Jean-Paul Sartre wrote about the lived experience of being a Jew, Simone de Beauvoir about being a woman, and Frantz Fanon about being a black man. So now, these in 40s and 50s, these philosophers or existentialists, they adopted this language. They demanded a return to lived experience, highlighting how dominant cultural categories distort one's sense of self. Okay, so basically, he's talking about how lived experience, there is little consensus, or rather, there is no consensus on what actually that means. So different people look at it in different ways. No contemporary philosopher has done more to help us understand identity politics than Charles Taylor. He sees it as a response to the human need for recognition, for one's most authentic self to be valued. In pre-modernity, recognition was assured by fulfilling one's social role, but now it is no longer guaranteed. तो पुराने जमाने में जो भी आपका सोशल रोल है, तो सपोज यू आर हंटर गैदरर, तो वो आप रोल करते थे प्ले, तो वो आपकी आइडेंटिटी हो जाता था. या जो घर पे होम मेकर है, लेट्स से द पर्सन, द वुमन हु टेंडेड टू टेक केयर ऑफ होम्स और नर्चर द चिल्ड्रन, वो सोशल रोल अगर आप फुलफिल करते थे, तो वही आपकी आइडेंटिटी बन जाती थी, ये आपका ऑथेंटिक सेल्फ होता था. बट नाउ इट इज नो लॉन्गर गारंटीड. Hence one's identity must be acknowledged. तो अब जरूरी नहीं है कि आप जो रोल प्ले कर रहे हो वही आपकी आइडेंटिटी बन जाए. टेलर आर्ग्यूज दैट दिस डिमांड इज टाइड टू द रोमांटिक नोशन ऑफ ट्रू सेल्फ obscured by society. Lived experience plays a central role in this process. First, it has become a marker of authenticity. Commonplace is that historical categories don't match the lived experience of marginalized people. So यहाँ पे ये कहा जा रहा है कि lived experience है. Now suppose there is a category, right, of black or LGBTQ or black or woman, right? तो जो उनके lived experience है इन marginalized people के, तो ये जो कैटेगरीज हैं वो मैच नहीं करती. दैट मीन्स कोई अगर ऐसा सोचता है कि वो वुमेन होना ऐसा है, जबकि वो वुमेन जो है वो उसका लिव्ड एक्सपीरियंस कुछ और है, तो यहाँ पे ये मिसमैच हो रहा है. कि अगर एक वुमेन से आप पूछोगे कि व्हाट इज योर लिव्ड एक्सपीरियंस, और जो एक सोसाइटी में जो उसकी एक कैटेगरी बनाई गई है, तो उनमें मिसमैच होगा. मिरांडा फ्रिकर कॉल्स दिस hermeneutical just injustice. Marginalized people can't fully understand their social reality because interpretive resources are dominated by the privileged. तो अगर जो जो interpretive resources हैं कि what it means to be a woman, तो उसमें जिसका वुमेन का एक्चुअल लिव्ड एक्सपीरियंस है वो अंडर प्ले हो जाता है, और जो सोसाइटी जिस तरीके से बताती है इंटरप्रेटिव रिसोर्स, सोसाइटी बताती है नो वुमेन मतलब ये होता है, तो दैट इज डोमिनेटेड बाय द प्रिविलेज. दैट मीन जो भी प्रिविलेज लोग हैं वो लिख रहे हैं उसके बारे में, जो बातें कर रहे हैं, who are ruling the discourse or running the discourse, so they are supposed to define what it means to be a woman rather than the woman who is actually living like a woman. Talk of lived experience signals authenticity by capturing experiences unreflected in mainstream culture. Second, invoking lived experience has become a way of securing epistemic and political authority. You don't know what it's like implies privileged knowledge, so others must differ. अब ये उसको दूसरे एंगल से बता रहा है कि कोई किसी का लिव्ड एक्सपीरियंस जो है, तो सपोज कोई वुमेन है तो उसको वो ऐसा बोल रही है कि यू डोंट नो व्हाट इट मीन्स टू बी अ वुमेन, सो दे काइंड ऑफ देन टेक अ epistemic and political authority. That means they say that no, whatever is your understanding of being a woman is not true. What, because I lived through that, it's my lived experience. मैं जो कह रही हूँ वही सही है, राइट? सपोज आप कहते भी नहीं एज अ वुमेन आपकी जो एक्सपीरियंस है ये ऐसे नहीं होंगे, तो वो ये कह रही कि नहीं तुम्हें क्या पता. स्पीकिंग एज अ सिग्नल्स दैट अथॉरिटी, तो वो उसकी अथॉरिटी है कि आई एम दैट पर्सन लिविंग दैट एक्सपीरियंस. ऑफरिंग ट्रूथ्स दैट रेमंड विलियम्स कॉल्स द मोस्ट ऑथेंटिक काइंड ऑफ ट्रूथ्स. थर्ड, lived experience policies boundaries. Gayatri Spivak calls this strategic essentialism, in which groups acts as if they are monolithic. Kwame warns that this can create rigid definition of what counts as authentically black, risking a social prison. Transgressing these boundaries casts doubt on one's authenticity. So lived experience policies boundary. That means जो ब्लैक है सपोज, या कोई वुमन है या कुछ भी है, राइट, जो भी उसकी आइडेंटिटी है, तो लिव्ड एक्सपीरियंस के कारण वो अपना एक, वो उसके हिसाब से अपनी बाउंड्री बना लेते हैं. तो ये जो ग्रुप्स होते हैं फिर ये एक्ट एज दे आर मोनोलिथिक, मीन दे आर जस्ट लाइक वन कास्ट इन वन बिग स्टोन. तो इसकी काफी रिजिड डेफिनेशन हो जाती है फिर इसके कारण. एंड देयर कुड बी अ सोशल प्रिजन, मतलब आप उसी में उससे एस्केप नहीं कर सकते, और अगर आप उसको एस्केप करोगे तो आपकी ऑथेंटिसिटी पे लोग डाउट करने लगेंगे. राइट, सो इफ अ ब्लैक पर्सन goes and marries a white person, तो उसकी ऑथेंटिसिटी पे लोग डाउट करने लगते हैं. इफ अ ब्लैक पर्सन goes and does something which a black person is not supposed to do, then people start wondering whether ये एक्चुअली ब्लैक है कि नहीं है. जैसे कि वुमेन जो है, वो वुमेन इफ दे एक्सेल इन कॉर्पोरेट बिकम सीईओज, तो पीपल स्टार्ट कास्टिंग डाउट्स दैट यार ये एक्चुअली वुमेन है कि नहीं है. सो ये भी चैलेंजेस हो जाते हैं, राइट. सो ये जो पैसेज है इसमें यही बताया जा रहा है कि जो लिव्ड एक्सपीरियंस है उसको अगर ऑथेंटिक मान के और वही माना जाए, तो उसके कारण भी चैलेंजेस होते हैं. दोनों तरफ से है कि जैसे if you try to adhere to the norms and try to rigidly define yourself, then you risk being in a social prison. Those who routinely deploy lived experience politically haven't been very critical about it. Yet Jones Court argued that reliance on lived experience can reinforce categories such as black or women. Rather than liberating marginalized people, it can entrench the very categories that oppress them. तो यही कह रहे हैं कि जो इस तरह की लाइफ आप लिव करते हो, एक्सपीरियंस जो है आपका, वो उससे आप री कर देते हो कैटेगरीज ब्लैक और वुमेन की. तो आप बजाय उसके कि लिबरेट हो जाओ, मतलब माइनॉरिटी से लिबरेट हो जाओ, आप उसको ही एंट्रेंच कर देते हो कैटेगरीज को. अपील्स टू लिव्ड एक्सपीरियंस एज प्योरली सब्जेक्टिव एंड अनआंसरेबल आर आल्सो क्वेश्चनेबल. अब दूसरी तरफ ये सब्जेक्टिव है आपका एक्सपीरियंस, ये भी एक क्वेश्चनेबल है. दैट मीन बोथ आर नॉट गुड. दैट वेदर you take it very objectively or you take it subjectively, both are good. As Kwame notes, we can understand our own experiences distorted by ideology and oppression. Lived experience is never unmediated. Unmediated means that it has to be seen through something, right? So let's say that uh, somebody reads that रात को अगर कोई पर्सन आपको हुडी में दिखे तो उससे डर जाओ, तो वो आप उसको देख के आपको कोई हुडी में दिखा तो आप उससे डर जाओ। अब ये आपका लिव्ड एक्सपीरियंस नहीं, ये आपको बुक के थ्रू, मतलब ये अनमीडिएटेड नहीं है। आपका जो डर है थोड़ा बहुत आपने पढ़ लिया तो उसके कारण भी आ गया, राइट? तो सोसाइटी जिस तरीके से उसको बताती है, आपने कहीं पढ़ा सुना, तो लिव्ड एक्सपीरियंस भी आपका उसी तरह से हो जाता है। तो लिव्ड एक्सपीरियंस इज नॉट दैट कि आइसोलेशन में एग्जिस्ट करता है दैट, so it is always mediated through something or the other. Thus it doesn't deserve reflexive deference simply because it's tied to identity और dignity. तो इसलिए ये नहीं है कि लिव्ड एक्सपीरियंस का आपको रिफ्लेक्सिव डेफरेंस में मान लिया जाए कि नहीं वही सही है और बाकी चीजें नहीं। Refusal to defer may feel like erasure, but lived experience isn't an unassailable foundation for authenticity. तो lived experience आपका कोई जरूरी नहीं है कि वो authenticity को कन्वे करे। दैट मीन्स सी लिव्ड एक्सपीरियंस जो है, वुमेन कह रही है कि नहीं मेरा लिव्ड एक्सपीरियंस है, दैट इज द मोस्ट ऑथेंटिक, तो ऐसा नहीं है। वो उसको चैलेंज कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे। As Bell Hooks wrote, identity politics emerges from struggles of oppressed groups to critique dominant structures. But if lived experience is interpreted as a shaky basis for authenticity, new language may create rather than reflect, merely reflect experience. Concepts like black, white, or privilege, underprivileged, privilege shape our self-understanding. Culture shapes lived experience. We must be wary of treating it as our final touchstone. So, कल्चर अगर हमारे लिव्ड एक्सपीरियंस को शेप करता है तो उसे हमें फाइनल बेंचमार्क नहीं मानना चाहिए। सो आई मीन डिफिकल्ट पैसेज, नो डाउट, वेरी डिफिकल्ट। आई कांट रिकलेक्ट पिछले कई सालों के कैट में मुझे कोई इस तरह का पैसेज देखने को मिला हो जो कि काफी डेंस है और काफी डेप्थ में घुस गया है आइडेंटिटी पॉलिटिक्स और लिव्ड एक्सपीरियंस की। एंड आई थिंक दैट वन वुड बी बेटर ऑफ लीविंग सच पैसेज। Of course, I'll give the main idea here and look at the questions, but one would have been better off leaving this. Uh, it is not representative of actually any CAT passage. Let me tell you very honestly, मैंने अभी तक मुझे नहीं याद पड़ रहा है 21 में उस तरह के पैसेज आते थे जहाँ पे स्कैंडल ऑफ फिलोसफी, अनकॉन्शियस सबकॉन्शियस टाइप के, वो अब आजकल नहीं आ रहे हैं कोई वैसे। All right, so let's take a look at the questions here now. According to the passage, lived experience constitutes all of the following except a person's first-hand encounters with and perceptions of social reality. ये तो ठीक है। तो this constitutes person's identity shaped by factors such as race, gender or class. Yes, ये भी ठीक है। Insight that a person gleans from oppression or marginalization. ओके, तो एक पर्सन जो है उसको अगर ऑपरेशन, उसके ऊपर कोई अत्याचार कर रहा है, उसको साइडलाइन कर दिया है, माइनॉरिटी बना दिया है, तो जो उसका एक्सपीरियंस है उससे जो उसको इनसाइट गेन हुआ, तो दैट ऑल्सो बिकम्स अ लिव्ड एक्सपीरियंस। सो आई थिंक दिस इज ओके। कल्चरल नैरेटिव्स दैट डिस्टॉर्ट अ पर्सन्स सब्जेक्टिव एक्सपीरियंसेस। सो कल्चरल नैरेटिव्स, कैन यू कॉल देम lived experiences? So I don't think so. Cultural narratives can distort people's sense of self and understanding, that is fine, but this is not the definition of lived experience, right? So we can mark this as the answer, and I think this is logical. um, yes, so this is fine, no problem with that. कल्चरल नैरेटिव जो है वो आपको शेप कर सकते हैं आपके सेल्फ अंडरस्टैंडिंग, लेकिन ये डेफिनेशन नहीं है। दीज नैरेटिव इन्फ्लुएंस हाउ the lived experience is perceived and interpreted. So this is fine. According to the passage, lived experience plays a central role in the romantic notion of a true self obscured by society in all of the following ways, except. So plays a central role in the romantic notion of a true self obscured by society. तो कहाँ लिखा है ये? Romantic notion obscured by, so I don't know where the thing was. You can go and just check over there. Yes, Taylor argues that this demand, so थोड़ा सा आगे पीछे पढ़ लेते हैं उसके। Hence, one's identity must be acknowledged. Taylor argues that this demand is tied to the romantic notion of a true self obscured by society. Lived experience plays a central role in this process. First, it has become a marker of authenticity. Invoking lived experience as a way become a way of securing epistemic and political authority. Third, polices boundaries. ठीक है, इस तरीके से इसने बताया है, tied to the romantic notion of a true self. So lived experience plays the central role in all the following ways. तो वही जो तीन है वही है. It signals authenticity by capturing experiences sidelined in mainstream narratives. Okay, so it captures authenticity by capturing. So marker of authenticity. ठीक है. Invoking lived experience become a way of securing epistemic and policies boundaries. Okay, so it signals authenticity by capturing experiences sidelined in the mainstream narratives. So ये commonplace that historical categories don't match the lived experience. Hermeneutical justice, marginalized people can't fully understand because interpretive sources are dominated by the privileged. Talk of lived experience signals authenticity by capturing experiences unreflected in the mainstream culture. तो ये बिल्कुल clearly दिया हुआ है यहाँ पे. So this is given, not the answer. It makes marginalized individuals fully aware of the knowledge held by the privileged. नहीं, this is not what it is. ये यहाँ पे दिया है कि जो privileged लोग हैं, right? It you don't know what it's like implies privileged knowledge, so others must defer. तो ये नहीं कह रहा है. It grants authority to those with first hand experience. ये तो है, फर्स्ट हैंड एक्सपीरियंस की बात कर ही रहा है कि जिनको. सो दिस लुक्स ओके, प्लेज अ सेंट्रल रोल. इट फॉर्म स्ट्रिक्ट ग्रुप आइडेंटिटी दैट नैरो द डेफिनेशन ऑफ व्हाट इज ऑथेंटिक. ये भी है. ये ग्रुप मोनोलिथिक. सो दिस थर्ड ऑप्शन कैप्चर्स ऑल ऑफ दिस. So correct answer is B here. It makes marginalized individuals fully aware of the knowledge. So this is okay. So logical है लेकिन difficult है, quite difficult. I think अगर आप ये करने जाओगे you will need a lot of time because you need to figure out exactly what all these options convey. So difficult question, no doubt. Let's go to the next one. Which of the following statements is suggested by sentence list lived experience is never unmediated? So never unmediated means कि वो unfiltered नहीं होता. You will always see it through the filter of something or the other. Lived experience is a direct and unfiltered reflection. Not at all. Lived experience is completely unreliable, in fact, lacks any factual basis. Not at all. This is too extreme. Lived experience is shaped by cultural, social, and ideological factors. Looks perfectly fine. Lived experience is subjective and cannot be communicated effectively. Is wrong. Correct answer is C. I think this was the easiest question in this lot. Okay, this I think could have been done more easily than the rest of the questions, and it's quite okay. Joan Scott, Kwame, and bell hooks are mentioned in the passage to illustrate the author's point that lived experience can reinforce oppression instead of over empowering the marginalized. Identity politics help marginalized groups challenge the dominant power structures. Lived experience provides the foundation of authenticity to the marginalized people. Identity politics, lived experience is seen as the final and unquestionable source of truth. So, थोड़ा सा इसमें let's look at the options again. जोन स्कॉट और क्वामे और बेल हुक्स को क्यों यहाँ पे मेंशन किया गया है? तो जोन स्कॉट कहाँ गई? सो जोन स्कॉट के बारे में कहाँ पे बात की गई? ठीक है, ये तो बेल हुक्स हैं. जोन स्कॉट आर्ग्यूज दैट रिलायंस ऑन लिव्ड एक्सपीरियंस कैन रीइंफोर्स कैटेगरीज rather than liberating marginalized, it can entrench the very categories. ठीक है, तो ये कह रहे हैं कि देखिए लिव्ड एक्सपीरियंस के कारण रीइंफोर्स कर रहे हो आप कैटेगरी, और वो जहां से एस्केप करना चाह रहे हैं वहीं पे वो इम्प्रिजन हो जाते हैं. तो क्वामे भी यही कह रहे हैं, वी कैन misunderstand our own experiences. Lived experience is never unmediated, that doesn't deserve reflexive deference. Bell hooks rise identity politics emerges from struggle of oppressed groups to critique dominant structures. So it signals authenticity. Lived experience can reinforce oppression instead of empowering the marginalized. तो ये ठीक लग रहा है क्योंकि जोन स्कॉट तो साफ साफ बोल रही हैं ये कि it can reinforce, right? जोन स्कॉट is very clearly saying this, that it can entrench the very categories, right? और में भी इसी तरह की कुछ बात कर रहे हैं. We can misunderstand, and bell hooks struggles what it lived experience, so shaky basis. So I would say this is still okay with Jane Scott. इन दोनों का मुझे मैं समझ नहीं आ रहा. Identity politics helps marginalized groups challenge the dominant power structures. Challenge तो कोई नहीं कर रहा कहीं पे भी. डोमिनेंट पावर स्ट्रक्चर्स को। क्या इसमें बोल रहे हैं एंड में, इट्स it emerges from the struggles of oppressed groups to critique dominant structures. Critique dominant structures does not mean to challenge dominant structures. So this is wrong. Lived experience provides the foundation of authenticity to the marginalized people. नहीं, ऐसा भी नहीं है. In identity politics, lived experience is seen as the final and unquestionable source of truth. गलत. So A is the correct answer here. So pretty tough passage. सिल्वर लाइनिंग क्या होती है इसमें? अच्छी बात यह है कि अगर समझ में आ गया तो क्वेश्चन इतने चैलेंजिंग नहीं है, इन द सेंस दैट इलॉजिकल नहीं है, बिकॉज as I mentioned in the beginning, the first passage was very easy to understand, and that is why they can do all those illogical things with the questions and the options. Totally illogical. इस तरह के जो पैसेज बनते हैं जो कि डेंस होते हैं, इसमें इधर उधर करने का ज्यादा स्कोप नहीं होता है. ऑलराइट, लेट्स गो टू द नेक्स्ट वन. From a humanist position, how do we approach the tech-vexed, perfection-striving humanity that is fast encroaching right now? तो ह्यूमनिस्ट की पोजीशन से हम किस तरीके से जो टेक से पजल्ड है, परफेक्शन स्ट्राइविंग ह्यूमैनिटी है जो आ रही है, उसको कैसे हम अप्रोच करें? व्हाट इज द एंटीडोट टू द रोबोटिसिज्म और ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन ऑफ ह्यूमन इनटू मशीन्स? While there is clearly no antidote to as such to this problem, there is sensibility also growing in stature that powerfully counters the roboticist trend, and this sensibility is awe. तो हमें awe का सहारा लेना चाहिए. Awe is the humility and wonder or sense of adventure towards living. It has been also defined as sense of vastness that defies accommodation. However, one defines it, sensibility of awe subverts mechanized living. It demands we live in the present spontaneously and with radical openness. So इस जमाने में जहाँ पे कि रोबोटिज्म आ रहा है और इंसान मशीन में ट्रांसफॉर्म हो रहा है, तो किस तरीके से हम रहें? तो वो बोल रहा है कि आप ऑ को अपना लीजिए. Awe is the humility and wonder, a sense of adventure, and live in the present and spontaneously. So that is the way that you can counter this particular uh, tendency to be a robot. ठीक है, इतना कोई मुश्किल नहीं था पैसेज पढ़ने में. The antidote to growing roboticism of modern life is the sensibility of awe, which fosters humility, wonder, and a rejection of mechanized existence. The antidote to the growing roboticism of modern life is the sensibility of awe. Okay. As technology pushes humanity towards roboticism, awe emerges as a counteracting force, emphasizing spontaneity, radical openness, and a deeper engagement with life. Okay. In the age of mechanized perfection-seeking humanity, the sensibility of awe offers a counterforce, encouraging spontaneity, openness, and a rejection of roboticism. Awe, defined by humility and wonder, serves as a powerful response to the mechanization of human life, promoting presence and an adventurous approach to living. Now, I don't know what to make of this particular passage. Right? मतलब इस तरह के जो पैरा समरी हैं, ये मतलब again they are so illogical. The options are so illogical that I can't really start commenting on it because I mean, see, ये पैसेज, इसमें कुछ समझने में कोई ऐसी बहुत मुश्किल बात नहीं है. अब किसी ने भी इसको रीड किया तो अब इसमें अगर आप इसको देखोगे, और डिफाइंड बाय ह्यूमिलिटी एंड वंडर serves as a powerful response so to mechanization, promoting presence and an adventurous approach to living. ठीक है, क्या है? In an age of mechanized perfection seeking humanity, the sensibility of awe offers a counterforce, encouraging spontaneity, openness, and a rejection of roboticism. ठीक है, this looks fine. As technology pushes humanity towards roboticism, awe emerges as a counteracting force, emphasizing spontaneity, radical openness, and a deeper engagement with life. This also looks okay to me. The antidote to growing roboticism is the sensibility of awe, which fosters humility, wonder, and a rejection of mechanized existence. So I don't know what to say. मुझे तो इसमें से 2 3 4 सभी ठीक लग रहे हैं. They have given the option as C, so I will mark it as C. But uh, can't really I can't really say why and how these others are wrong. Okay, so I will not reserve my comment on this particular question. As usual, the summaries are pathetic and they are not reflective of what actually comes. CAT के पैसेज जो होते हैं, उसकी समरी जो होती है वो बहुत ही क्लियर कट होती है. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल दो ऑप्शन बहुत इजीली एलिमिनेट हो जाते हैं, और वो इस तरह से चेक नहीं करते कि एक यहाँ पे इस पे ज्यादा फोकस है, वहाँ पे उस पे ज्यादा फोकस हो गया, यहाँ पे प्रेजेंस दे दी तो वहाँ एडवेंचर दे दिया, तो वहाँ पे परफेक्शन सीकिंग दे दी, तो यहाँ इस तरह के कोई एक्सप्लेनेशन भी नहीं देते वो. देर आर वेरी क्लियरली टू ऑप्शंस विच कैन बी नैरोड डाउन, एंड वन रिफ्लेक्ट्स इट एंड द अदर डज नॉट इन सम वे और द अदर, विच यू फिगर इट आउट. यहाँ पे एक ही इसको आपने अलग अलग तरीके से वही सेंटेंस को लिख दिया. राइट, सी दिस, ये लोग क्या करते हैं कि एक ही सेंटेंस को चार तरीके से लिखवा लेते हैं. मे बी दे वुड हैव डन इट थ्रू द एआई, आई डोंट नो. किसी भी चैट जीपीटी से एक ही सेंटेंस को चार तरीके से लिखवा लो और वो चार ऑप्शन बन जाएंगे, एंड देन दे कैन जस्टिफाई कि इसमें ये नहीं है, उसमें वो नहीं है, और हमारे हिसाब से ये सही. राइट, सो such questions are useless. All right, let's look at the 11th question. The controversy has reignited broader debates about balancing healthcare affordability with ensuring the effectiveness of medical treatments. तो the controversy कहीं पे होना चाहिए previous sentence में. Public anger in China has surged over concerns raised by doctors that generic drugs used in public hospitals are becoming increasingly ineffective. Many doctors argue that country's drug procurement system, which prioritizes cost cutting, is to blame. The controversy has reignited broader debates. आ सकता है क्या? ठीक है. द सिस्टम तो रहने देते हैं इसको यहाँ पे, क्योंकि द सिस्टम रेफर्स टू दिस ड्रग प्रोक्योरमेंट सिस्टम. राइट, सो दिस ड्रग प्रोक्योरमेंट सिस्टम जो है ये यहाँ पे है, तो इसलिए वन से हटाए थे. The system incentivizes hospitals to use cheap generic drugs instead of original brand name pharmaceuticals, often resulting in concerns over quality and efficacy. While generics are meant to provide the same benefits as their branded counterpart, reports of inconsistent results and ineffective treatment have fueled anxiety among both medical professionals and the public. The controversy has reignited broader debates. Some experts warn that current system, despite its goal of making healthcare affordable, may be compromising patient safety. Balancing healthcare affordability with the effectiveness. तो यहाँ आ सकता है. In response to the growing unrest, Chinese authorities have pledged to investigate drug quality issues and review procurement policies to address public concerns. However, critics remain skeptical about whether meaningful reforms will be implemented. तो ये तो यहाँ पे तो नहीं आना चाहिए. In response to the growing unrest, Chinese authorities have pledged to investigate. However, critics remain skeptical. So this is okay. So it should come in what, 3, 2, or 3. So 2 में आगे देखते हैं. The controversy has reignited broader debates about balancing healthcare. Some experts warn that current system, despite its goal, may be compromising patient safety. The controversy has ignited broader debates in response to the growing unrest. ये 2 में better लग रहा है, because 3 में आने से it will disrupt the flow. In response to the growing unrest, Chinese authorities have pledged to investigate drug quality issues. ठीक है, तो 2 में आके बैठ सकता है, तो 2 is the correct option here, right? So ठीक है, this is okay. Not too illogical. This is fine. Let's look at the next one. Everyone loves to watch hummingbirds, tiny bright blurs that hover at flowers and fiercely defend feeders. With their small size and blazing metabolism, they live on a knife edge, sometimes shutting down their bodies to survive the night or migrate thousands of miles. तो hummingbirds, everyone loves to watch. टाइनी ब्राइट ब्लर्स होते हैं जो कि फ्लावर के ऊपर घूमते हैं और फीडर्स को डिफेंड करते हैं. स्मॉल साइज इनका, ब्लेजिंग मेटाबॉलिज्म, लाइफ एज मींस दे आर ऑलवेज hanging in balance, sometimes shutting down their bodies or migrate thousands of miles. Their nectar-rich diet leads to blood sugar levels that would hospitalize a human, and their zooming flight can generate fighter pilot level G forces. For years, researchers assumed hummingbirds spent about 30% of their feeding resting most of the time, but physiological ecologist Anusha Shankar looked closely and found they often work far harder. तो ये हमिंग बर्ड्स के बारे में बता रहा है कि इनका साइज स्मॉल है, मेटाबॉलिज्म बहुत ब्लेजिंग है, लिव ऑन लाइफ एज, नेक्टर रिच डाइट है जो कि शुगर लेवल्स काफी बढ़ा देती है, जूमिंग फ्लाइट है इनकी. ऐसा रिसर्चर्स सोचते थे कि ये दे स्पेंड 30% ऑफ डे फीडिंग एंड एंड रेस्टिंग मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम, बट ऐसा नहीं है. They often work harder, ऐसा उन्हें पता लगा. Shankar studied broad-billed hummingbirds in southern Arizona, measuring metabolic rates during various activities and estimating total daily energy use. She calculated the per-minute cost of perching, flying, and hovering, and then inferred how much time the bird spent feeding versus perching. तो इन्होंने ये सब स्टडी की, मेटाबॉलिक रेट्स मेजर किए वेरियस एक्टिविटीज में, कितनी एनर्जी यूसेज है उसके चाहिए कि उसको, पर मिनट कॉस्ट ऑफ पर्चिंग फ्लाइंग की निकाला उसने. तो काफी रिसर्च करा. Results varied. Early in summer, when flowers are abundant, they could meet energy needs within only a few hours of feeding. perching up to 70% of the day. But when flowers grew scarcer, they perched just 20% of their waking hours, devoting the rest up to 13 hours to feeding. तो यहाँ से हमें पता चलता है कि जब समर्स में फ्लावर्स बहुत सारे होते हैं, उनकी एनर्जी नीड बहुत क्विकली मीट हो जाती है कुछ ही घंटों से। तो 70% पर्स्ट मीन्स कि ये बैठे रहते हैं, कुछ नहीं करते। बट जब फ्लावर्स स्केर्स हो जाते हैं तो सिर्फ 20% टाइम पर्च करते हैं, बाकी टाइम फीड करते हैं। हमिंग बर्ड्स हैव अ ट्रिक टू सेव एनर्जी व्हेन they risk running out, they may go torpid. Torpid means inactive or dormant at night, dropping body temperature near the surrounding air. Torpid birds appear almost comatose, breathing intermittently, saving up to 95% of hourly metabolic costs during cold nights. तो ये अपना टेम्परेचर गिरा लेते हैं, क्योंकि अगर टेम्परेचर ज्यादा होगा तो फिर दे विल नीड मोर एनर्जी टू मेंटेन दैट। तो टेम्परेचर डिफरेंस जो है अपना सराउंडिंग एयर के जितना कर लेते हैं ये। दिस कैन बी essential after days of less feeding or before migration. They still keep their internal clock. To be ready for daylight, they begin rousing about an hour before sunrise, well before visible light cues. ठीक है। टू फ्यूल their sky high metabolism, hummingbirds may drink up to 80% of their body weight in nectar daily, like a 150 pound person downing dozens of sodas. तो अपना इतना मेटाबॉलिज्म के लिए ये 80% ऑफ बॉडी वेट नेक्टर डेली कंज्यूम कर लेते हैं। Nectar is often sweeter than typical soft drinks. Humans can't absorb sugar that fast. Hummingbirds manage it with leaky guts, allowing sugars to enter the bloodstream between cells. This rapid uptake helps them reach blood sugar levels 6 times higher than humans. Such levels could cause severe glycation damage in people, but hummingbirds avoid it, possibly thanks to proteins with fewer vulnerable amino acids. By the end of the night, hummingbird's sugar stores are nearly gone, yet it must wake up and fly. They can rapidly shift from burning sugar to burning fat in mere minutes, far faster than other organisms. तो यहाँ पे ये बताया कि काफी इनकी they absorb 6 times the sugar that a human can safely absorb, but they don't have to face any kind of issues because they have some proteins with fewer vulnerable amino acids. Because nectar is mostly water, hummingbirds must excrete large amounts without losing electrolytes. तो ये वाटर होता है तो उसको एक्सक्रीट करना है, लेकिन इलेक्ट्रोलाइट लूज नहीं करना है। देयर किडनीज recapture salts and produce almost distilled water. But if they kept producing such dilute urine overnight, they would die of dehydration. So they shut down their kidneys every night, akin to acute renal failure in humans. Otherwise, as one researcher puts it, they would piss themselves to death. So, strange kind of a passage which talks about hummingbirds, and their feeding initially was thought to be not that much, resting ज़्यादा था, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है। उन्होंने डिस्कवर किया कि डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ फ्लावर्स वो पीरियड ऊपर नीचे होता रहता है। प्लस इनको अपना टेम्परेचर मेंटेन ये अपना मैच करने के लिए मैच कर लेते हैं ताकि एनर्जी कंजर्व कर सकें। they they consume huge amounts of nectar which is very sugar loaded, but they are able to survive, and they excrete a lot of fluids, but try to retain the salts. So somehow they battle various odds uh, to survive and keep on doing what they do. So let's go to the questions here. The phrase live on a knife edge in the passage refers to live on a knife edge क्यों बोल रहा है कि knife edge means balance, sometimes shutting down their body or migrate thousands of miles, ऐसा कुछ बोलते हैं। Constant risks they face as they continually push the limits बिल्कुल गलत है। Significant hazards arising from evolutionary constraints of hummingbirds physiology. The delicate balance hummingbirds keep between energy intake and expenditure, कह सकते हैं। Rapid metabolic adjustments hummingbirds make in response to seasonal changes. No, this is not. This is mentioned in the second paragraph. करेक्ट आंसर सी लग रहा है इसमें। द डेलिकेट बैलेंस hummingbirds keep between energy intake, तो ये लिखा हुआ है यहाँ पे। Sometimes shutting down their bodies to migrate thousands of miles. Energy intake and expenditure, right? So uh, this looks okay. ठीक है, this question was okay, logical. Let's move to the next one. Which of the following is not mentioned in the passage as a reason hummingbirds need to save energy? Okay. To survive cold nights, ये तो लिखा हुआ है surely. To prepare for migration, तो ऐसा है क्या कि prepare for migration, तो they need to, they can still keep to be ready 95% of metabolic costs, so they may drink up to, I don't know, to defend their access to food. Hummingbirds need to save energy to defend their access to food. तो ये तो कहीं दिख नहीं रहा ऐसा कुछ भी, defend their access to food. सो माइग्रेशन वाला कहाँ पे है? ठीक है, लेकिन मीट तो ऑफसेट पीरियड्स ऑफ लो एनर्जी अवेलेबिलिटी, ये तो ठीक है कि लो एनर्जी अवेलेबिलिटी जहाँ पे है, तो ये इस बारे में दिया हुआ है यहाँ पे कि जहाँ पे लो एनर्जी अवेलेबिलिटी है वहाँ पे इन्हें तो सेव एनर्जी करना पड़ती है, दिस इज गिवन, दिस इज मेंशन, सो दिस इज गिवन एंड दिस इज गिवन टू प्रिपेयर फॉर माइग्रेशन दे नीड टू सेव एनर्जी। ये तो लॉजिकल लग रहा है क्योंकि अगर माइग्रेशन पे आपको जाना है लंबा तो एनर्जी सेव करनी पड़ेगी, so this looks okay. To defend their access to food, this doesn't seem to be a reason, right? So this looks to be the answer. मुझे इसका मतलब ही समझ नहीं आ रहा, but ठीक है, this itself looks like the answer because it is least logical among these three, among these four. The passage implies that hummingbirds' metabolic adaptations are significant because they enable the birds to process large quantities of sugar and sidestep the damage linked to high sugar. Metabolic adaptations are significant. कई सारी जगह बताया है ये तो. Enable hummingbirds to slip into a phase of near death lethargy to conserve energy and regain high levels of energy soon after. Equip these diminutive creatures to satisfy their considerable energy needs despite their rapid metabolic pace. Enable hummingbirds to quickly shift between burning sugar and fat, allowing them to adjust to changing energy availability. So देखते हैं कहाँ पे कोई ये दिया हुआ है adaptations. Let's. तो यहाँ पे जो मेटाबॉलिक अडेप्टेशंस हैं इसके, ये तो कई जगह दिख रहे हैं यहाँ पे. इट they go torpid at night, ये भी adaptation है. To save the sky high, they may drink up to 80% of nectar, and um, they avoid severe glycation thanks to protein with fewer vulnerable, ये भी एक adaptation है. और they excrete large amount without losing electrolytes, ये भी एक तरह का adaptation. तो बहुत सारे adaptations हैं, तो इसमें से significant क्यों है? Because they enable the birds to process large quantities of sugar and sidestep the damage linked to high blood sugar. ठीक है, this may not be the answer because this addresses one part of it. This adaptation is not overall adaptation. This may be a little narrow view. Enable hummingbirds to slip into phase of near death lethargy to conserve energy and regain high levels. ये भी हो सकता है. Equip these diminutive creatures to satisfy their considerable energy needs despite their rapid metabolical pace. ये थोड़ा सा broader दिख रहा है यहाँ पे. ये सब examples हैं उसके. Quickly shift between burning sugar and fat, allowing them to change. So I would say that though all of them are significant, I would say adaptations, और चारों ही किसी न किसी तरीके से हैं दिए हुए हैं, but maybe इनमें से this C gives in the broadest manner, and that's why C could be the answer. But again, dicey question. I would not very happy with because ये भी एक adaptation significant है, ये भी important है. बट ठीक है, ये ब्रॉड ओवरऑल है, ये तीनों को एक तरह से कवर कर लेता है. यू कैन से दैट दिस इज अ सुपर सेट, दैट्स व्हाई दिस शुड बी द आंसर. ठीक है, ओके. व्हाट इज द सेंट्रल आइडिया ऑफ द पैसेज? Hummingbirds have evolved complex strategies to balance their extreme energy needs and sugar intake through physiological adaptations. Study of human hummingbirds has primarily revealed how they survived their high metabolic requirements by spending. ये तो बिल्कुल ही गलत है. Face formidable challenges related to sugar metabolism, flight exhaustion due to the, ये भी गलत है. फॉर्मिडेबल चैलेंजेस को कैसे ओवरकम किया वो बताना है. डिस्पाइट assumptions about their rest, hummingbirds show remarkable resilience by managing energy, sugar and hydration. तो मुझे इसमें hummingbirds have evolved complex strategies to balance their extreme energy needs and sugar intake through physiological adaptations. तो ठीक लग रहा है मुझे. extreme energy needs and sugar intake through physiological adaptation, this looks okay. लेकिन उसमें आंसर उसने डी दे दिया. डिस्पाइट assumptions about their rest, hummingbirds show remarkable resilience. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल ये सेंटेंस ही गलत तरीके से कंस्ट्रक्ट बना हुआ. कंस्ट्रक्ट दिस सेंटेंस इज इटसेल्फ इलॉजिकल ग्रामेटिकली. ये जो मॉडिफायर है डिस्पाइट assumptions about their rest, ये assumptions किसके हैं? ये क्या hummingbirds के assumption है? I mean, I don't know who has created this particular option, but they lack the basic sense of English language. Despite assumptions about their rest, hummingbirds show remarkable resilience. So ये assumptions किसके हैं? This is a classic modifier error. Assumptions तो इंसानों के हैं ना. ये देखिए, ये इंसान के assumption है. For years, researchers assumed hummingbirds spent about 30% of their day feeding. तो अगर ये यहाँ पे ऐसा लिखता है कि despite researchers assuming about their rest, yeah, despite the assumptions of researchers about their rest, hummingbirds show remarkable resilience. First of all, how are they linked? कि despite assumptions about the rest, hummingbirds show remarkable resilience by managing energy. ये दोनों चीजें लिंक्ड कैसे हैं, मुझे तो ये समझ नहीं आ रहा. उनके assumptions about rest थे, ठीक है, which have shown to be wrong. But how does it link to this? I don't understand. How can this be the central idea? This is totally illogical and a wrong answer which has been given here. In the light of this, I would go with A. They have evolved complex strategies to balance their extreme energy needs and sugar intake through physiological adaptations. This looks perfectly okay to me. I don't know why they've gone for this particular D. This option best expresses the main message: surprising discovery that they are remarkably resilient. It refers to the previous assumptions. तो assumptions hummingbirds की थोड़ी हैं भाई. ये तो sentence ही गलत बनाया हुआ है. So again, another example of a useless option. Let's go to the next. Okay, so this is a para completion question. This raises concerns about the role of AI in shaping public understanding of current events. AI chatbots are increasingly used to summarize news articles, but research by BBC suggests they produce inaccurate summaries. So this raises concerns about the role of AI in shaping public understanding of current events. आ सकता है यहाँ पे. The study analyzed 4 major AI chatbots and found their summaries frequently misrepresented key details, omitted crucial context, or introduced factual errors. Experts warn such inaccuracies could mislead readers who rely on these. AI developers argue that improving training data refining will help increase, but challenges remain. यहाँ पे आ सकता है ये. This raises concerns. Improving training will help, but challenges remain. This raises concerns about misinformation and biased output are persistent concerns. Okay, तो ये जो this raises concerns or misinformation and biased output are persistent concerns. A chatbot possesses vast amounts of online content, much of which may be reliable. As AI becomes, यहाँ पे 3 है, more dominant force ensuring reliability. Sorry, ये नहीं becomes. Some researchers advocate for integrating human oversight. तो ये 1 में और 2 में तो थोड़ा सा मुश्किल है. 2 ही मुझे ठीक लग रहा है ये. As AI becomes more dominant, so मुझे 2 पे ठीक लग रहा था. इसने आंसर this raises concerns about AI. Some researchers advocate for integrating. I don't know. See, and again, this is a pathetic question. 1 पे तो नहीं आएगा ये. द स्टडी लिखा हुआ है यहाँ पे, तो this links to this particular study, recent research. But 2 पे मुझे ठीक लग रहा है because misinformation and biased outputs are persistent concerns. So this raises concerns about rule of AI, and misinformation and biased outputs are persistent concerns. So why it can't come at 2, I'm not able to understand. Okay, so this is again one of those pathetic questions. This mock is actually atrocious. I've not come across such atrocious mocks. I don't remember. Confidence is contagious, means it spreads. Someone declaring their position with ringing certainty is more likely to inspire than someone who hedges their bets. We may fight them on the beaches, it depends a bit on the weather, would have been a lot less persuasive. तो जो अगर बहुत ही एम्फेटिकली सर्टेनिटी से कुछ बोलता है तो उससे लोग इंस्पायर होंगे, rather than somebody who just hedges the bets, means जो कुछ ifs and buts करके बोलता है. We may fight. तो we may fight does not sound too confident and too convincing. A study by Matthias Brouwer of University of Mannheim analyzed language used in letters from activist investors and found that more confident letters were associated with more successful activist campaigns. Confidence confers status. In a study by Cameron Anderson of University of California, MBA students were asked to take a survey that listed both genuine names and made up ones. Overconfident students who picked more fictitious entries turned out to have the most influence on their classmates according to end of term ratings. कॉन्फिडेंस के बारे में बता रहे हैं कि अगर आप कॉन्फिडेंट हो तो आपकी कॉन्फिडेंस स्प्रेड होता है और यू गेट द डिजायर्ड रिजल्ट्स। सो एक स्टडी भी कुछ की थी, उसके हिसाब से बता रहे हैं कि ओवर कॉन्फिडेंट स्टूडेंट्स की ज्यादा इन्फ्लुएंस होती है दूसरे स्टूडेंट्स के ऊपर। कॉन्फिडेंस विदाउट कॉम्पिटेंस विल ओनली गेट यू सो फार। तो कॉन्फिडेंस खाली अकेला नहीं चलेगा, कॉम्पिटेंस भी चाहिए। इफ यू गो अराउंड टेलिंग पीपल हाउ मच यू लव द वन मस्किटियर, यू विल नॉट बी दैट इन्फ्लुएंशियल। बट कॉम्पिटेंस विदाउट कॉन्फिडेंस imposes लिमिट्स टू। सेल्फ डाउटर आर लेस likely to put themselves forward for big promotions। कॉम्पिटेंस विदाउट कॉन्फिडेंस के भी प्रॉब्लम है। मतलब खाली कॉन्फिडेंस से भी काम नहीं चलेगा, खाली कॉम्पिटेंस से भी काम नहीं चलेगा। अगर आप कॉम्पिटेंट हो बट यू सेल्फ डाउट योर सेल्फ, then you won't put yourself forward for big promotions. Irrational levels of self belief are a hallmark of many successful founders. A recent paper by Terry and Jutta found that higher self confidence predicted both entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial success. As much as confidence brings reward, it also brings danger. Work by Ulrich and Jeffrey Tate found that overconfident bosses are more likely to undertake acquisitions. They are more likely to destroy value. Another paper by Guoli Chen of INSEAD looks at how CEOs' confidence affects their earning forecast. Forecast bosses with inflated self-belief are slower to adjust their forecast when they proved inaccurate. Put simply, the research conclude overconfident executives who make mistakes continue to be wrong for longer. तो कॉन्फिडेंस से भी काम नहीं चलेगा, खाली कॉम्पिटेंस से भी काम नहीं चलेगा। कॉन्फिडेंस से रिवॉर्ड्स आते हैं लेकिन डेंजर भी होते हैं कि जो ओवर कॉन्फिडेंट बॉसेस हैं वो एक्विजिशन अंडरटेक करेंगे एंड दे मे डिस्ट्रॉय वैल्यू। दूसरा, कॉन्फिडेंस अफेक्ट्स देयर अर्निंग फोरकास्ट। तो जो लोग काफी इन्फ्लेटेड सेल्फ बिलीव जिनमें होता है, वो अपनी फोरकास्ट को एडजस्ट नहीं करते। सपोज यू फोरकास्ट दैट नेक्स्ट ईयर 20% ग्रोथ होगा, लेकिन अभी इस क्वार्टर में 10% ही आया, तो भी आप एडजस्ट नहीं करोगे जब इनएक्यूरेट प्रूव भी हो गया। तो दे कंटिन्यू टू मेक मिस्टेक्स, कंटिन्यू टू बी रॉन्ग फॉर लॉन्गर बिकॉज यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू एडजस्ट योर फोरकास्ट बेस्ड अपॉन द रिजल्ट्स दैट यू आर गेटिंग। तो ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस से इसके कुछ फ्लिप साइड बताया है यहाँ पे। In an ideal world, confidence would be distributed evenly and in just the right quantities. An optimally confident person trusts their own judgment while accepting it can be fallible. In practice, confidence is distributed unevenly and is prone to feedback loops. तो आइडियल वर्ल्ड में कॉन्फिडेंस सभी को बराबर राइट क्वांटिटी में होना चाहिए। ऑप्टिमली कॉन्फिडेंट पर्सन ट्रस्ट देयर ओन जजमेंट व्हाइल एक्सेप्टिंग इट कैन बी फैलेबल। प्रैक्टिस में ये अनइवन होता है। Confident person is apt to place even more faith in their ability if they have success. One study by Nathaniel Fast tested people's willingness to bet on their performance in a difficult general knowledge quiz. Those who were asked how much power they had at work before making their bets staked more and lost more than others who answered afterward. तो इसमें एक उन्होंने टेस्ट किया कि कॉन्फिडेंस पर्सन जो है, कॉन्फिडेंट पर्सन, वो अपनी और फेथ डालेगा अपनी एबिलिटी पे अगर उन्हें सक्सेस मिली है तो अगर किसी को एक डिफिकल्ट जनरल नॉलेज टेस्ट दिया और कहा कि आप बताइए आप कैसा परफॉर्म करोगे, तो जो लोग पहले से पावर में थे एट वर्क, जिन्होंने ये बेट लगाई, वो उन्होंने ज्यादा पैसे लगाए उसके ऊपर कि हाँ आई विल एबल बी एबल टू स्कोर मच बेटर इन डिफिकल्ट जनरल नॉलेज इफ दे हैड मोर पावर एट वर्क बिफोर, और लॉस्ट मोर देन दोज हु आंसर्ड आफ्टरवर्ड, जिन्होंने बाद में आंसर किया उसके बजाय। पीपल हु हैड पावर एट वर्क put more money and lost more money. This messy picture revolves into two propositions for managers. First, puffed up people need guardrails. तो जो जिसका ज्यादा कॉन्फिडेंस है उसे थोड़ा गार्ड रेल्स में प्रोटेक्शन चाहिए। A new paper by Priscilla finds that overconfident bosses of American high-tech firms have a better record of making breakthrough innovations if they are considered constrained by powerful expert boards. तो जो ओवर कॉन्फिडेंट बॉसेस हैं अमेरिकन हाईटेक फर्म्स के, इनके ज्यादा चांसेस है रिकॉर्ड ब्रेक थ्रू इनोवेशंस के, अगर इनको थोड़ा सा कुछ अगर कंस्ट्रेन किया जाए, थोड़ा रोका जाए इनको, अगर एक बोर्ड्स हो जो चेक में रखें इन्हें। Second, self-doubters need encouragement to fulfill their potential. That might come from managers, mentors, or even themselves. Study by Joris primed participants in a mock interview to think of times when they had wielded power. Independent evaluators who were unaware of the experiment found that these participants wrote more persuasive cover letters and did better in face-to-face interview than other applicants. Confidence can be natural; it can also be a trick. So, little ऑड काइंड ऑफ पैसेज, मतलब कोई बहुत अच्छा पैसेज नहीं है इसमें। अगर आप देखेंगे हर लाइन में एक स्टडी है, एक स्टडी यहाँ आ गई, एक स्टडी यहाँ आ गई, मतलब एक स्टडी रिसेंट पेपर यहाँ आ गया, एक उसके बाद में अनदर पेपर यहाँ आ गया, फिर उसके बाद में मतलब आई डोंट नो, इट सीम्स दैट बीच बीच में से उठा के लाए हैं। ये वन स्टडी यहाँ पे आ गई, फिर न्यू पेपर यहाँ पे आ गया, फिर यहाँ, आई डोंट नो व्हाट इज हैपनिंग, बट एनीवे। तो बेसिकली कॉन्फिडेंस के बारे में बात की है। ऐसा कोई कोई डिफिकल्ट टू रीड नहीं है। लेट्स लुक एट द क्वेश्चंस। वी मे फाइट देम ऑन बीचेस, इट डिपेंड्स ऑन अ बिट ऑफ अ वेदर, व्हाट इज द पर्पस ऑफ एग्जांपल। तो ये बताने के लिए किया है कि कॉन्फिडेंट अगर नहीं हो आप, तो लोग आपको आपसे इन्फ्लुएंस नहीं होंगे, राइट? दैट्स व्हाट वी कैन इन्फर। वी आर्ग्यू दैट लीडर्स कैन बी इफेक्टिव बाय अडैप्टिंग टू सर्कमस्टेंसेस। नो, confident statements are not always more convincing than cautious ones. Assertiveness in delivering strong messages can inspire others. Looks fine. Looks fine. Humor can enhance. Humor कहाँ आ गया इसमें? तो this was the easy question, I would say. Pretty straightforward question. Uh, इसमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। Researchers mentioned in the second paragraph are most likely to agree with which of the following? तो ये कौन से सेकंड पैराग्राफ में रिसर्चर्स टेरी बोल रहे हैं कि हायर सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस कॉन्फिडेंस प्रिडिक्टेड बोथ एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप एंड एंटरप्रेन्योरियल सक्सेस। एंड ये उल्ड्रिक और ये कह रहे हैं कि ओवर कॉन्फिडेंट बॉसेस लाइकली टू अंडरटेक एक्विजिशंस। सीईओ कॉन्फिडेंस, तो सीईओ की कॉन्फिडेंस की बात हो रही है। ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस लीड्स टू अनसाउंड डिसीजंस अंडर अनलेस बैलेंस्ड बाय स्ट्रॉन्ग ओवरसाइट। ओके, रख सकते हैं इसको, लेकिन ये जो ओवरसाइट वाली बात की है ये यहाँ पे नहीं की है। यहाँ की है क्या? नहीं, यहाँ पे नहीं की है वो। इफ दे आर कंस्ट्रेन्ड बाय पावरफुल एक्सपर्ट बोर्ड्स, तो गार्ड रेल्स वाली बात सेकंड पैराग्राफ में नहीं हुई है, थर्ड में हुई है। तो दिस डजंट लुक गुड। एक्सेसिव सेल्फ डाउट प्रिवेंट्स कॉम्पिटेंट इंडिविजुअल्स फ्रॉम रियलाइजिंग देयर फुल पोटेंशियल, ये तो नहीं है। Entrepreneurs and CEOs generally possess balanced self-confidence. Confidence without competence is rarely influential. आई डोंट नो, मुझे तो इसमें कुछ गड़बड़ दिख रही है। ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस लीड्स टू अनसाउंड डिसीजंस, आंसर ए दिया गया है इसमें। अनलेस बैलेंस्ड बाय स्ट्रॉन्ग ओवरसाइट, तो आई डोंट नो इसमें किस किस के नाम दिए गए देखते हैं। मैक्सुल स्किच, मैक्सुल स्किच ये है, ठीक है। जूता, ये रहे जूता, ये जूता है, राइट? सो दीज टू टुगेदर दे डिड समथिंग। उल्रिक एंड जेफरी टेट एंड गोली चैन, ये उल्रिक, जेफरी टेट और जेली चैन। तो आइए देखते हैं कि कहाँ पे सीईओ के जो ये बोल रहा है, ओके, बिकॉज आई डोंट एग्री विद दिस, अनलेस बैलेंस्ड बाय स्ट्रॉन्ग ओवरसाइट। ओके, ये कहाँ पे है? recent paper found that higher self-confidence predicted both entrepreneurial success and entrepreneurship. It also brings danger. वो more likely to undertake acquisition, more likely to destroy value. Forecast गलत बता देंगे वो। तो यहाँ कहाँ इसमें ये जो बताया हुआ है कि पॉप्ड अप पीपल नीड गार्ड रेल्स, ये तो इन्होंने बताया है, नथानियल फास्ट ने बताया ये। तो हाउ वुड दिस फेलो अग्री? मतलब ये तो unless balanced by strong oversight, this is not at all a part of the second paragraph। तो कुछ बात समझ नहीं आ रही कि इसमें आंसर में जस्टिफिकेशन दिया गया, रिसर्चर्स कलेक्टिवली हाईलाइट बोथ द पॉजिटिव एंड नेगेटिव एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस। McCluskey show that higher self-confidence predicts entrepreneurial, whereas overconfidence can destroy, indicating that can harness overconfidence. Goli Chen found that powerful boards, है क्या powerful boards? गोली चेन, गोली चेन जो है इनके बारे में पढ़ते हैं। Another paper by Goli Chen looked at how CEOs' confidence affects their earnings forecast. Bosses with inflated self-belief were slower to adjust their forecast when they proved inaccurate. Put simply, overconfident executives who make mistakes continue to be wrong for longer. तो यहाँ कहाँ इन्होंने जो अपना जस्टिफिकेशन दिया है IMS वालों ने, वो कह रहे हैं कि गोली चेन फाउंड दैट पावरफुल बोर्ड्स कैन harness overconfidence to foster innovation, indicating that strong oversight can mitigate risks. I don't know whether they are hallucinating or from where did they figure this one out. Right? From where did they figure that stronger boards वाली बात तो नथेनियल फेस्ट ने करी है यहाँ पे, रादर प्रिसिला क्राफ्ट ने कही है, नथेनियल ने भी नहीं कही, प्रिसिला क्राफ्ट ने कही है कि इफ कंस्ट्रेन्ड बाय पावरफुल बोर्ड्स। तो आई डोंट नो, आई मीन सीरियसली क्या I mean, who creates these kind of questions, who justifies them, who gives the answers? I'm really not able to understand totally this particular mock. I've not seen such pathetic mock so far. I would say this is the worst ever. क्योंकि मतलब ये तो गलत ही बोल रहा है ना, आंसर का जस्टिफिकेशन में गलत ही आंसर दे रहा है, राइट? सो दिस इज pathetic question, another pathetic question. विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इफ फॉल्स वुड बी इनकंसिस्टेंट विद द फैक्ट्स आर्गुमेंट। तो ये दो नेगेटिव हो गए, इफ फॉल्स और इनकंसिस्टेंट, तो दोनों को हटा दें अगर, तो विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इफ ट्रू वुड बी कंसिस्टेंट, राइट। So which of the following, if true, would be consistent with the passage? So let's see. Confidence always leads to better professional outcomes and higher success. नहीं, this is not correct. Success reinforces confidence, which can lead to risk taking and uneven results. हाँ, ये तो ठीक है, ये बोल रहा है यहाँ पे कि success leads to more confidence, bring it also brings danger. तो ये तो बोल रहा है, ठीक है, we can keep this. Overconfidence is a rare trait that does not significantly impact leadership. बिल्कुल नहीं. सेल्फ डाउट इज इवन मोर डेंजरस, नहीं, दोनों ही डेंजरस हैं। तो करेक्ट आंसर बी है यहाँ पे, एंड आई थिंक ही इज आल्सो गिवन बी, व्हिच इज ओके। दिस इज ओके, फाइन। In a personal interview, candidates were asked, what is your greatest strength? Based on the passage, the author is most likely to favor which of the following responses? What kind of question is this? I don't understand. I am confident that I am great at everything I do, and I always trust my instincts. My greatest strength is my self-confidence, and no, I have no major weaknesses, and I know I have no major weaknesses. I am confident I can handle any task perfectly and to your entire satisfaction. I believe in my abilities, but know my limitations, and I am always ready to improve. तो डी ही ठीक है, बिकॉज ये और ऑथर ये तो नहीं मानेगा कि आई एम कॉन्फिडेंट एंड ऑलवेज ट्रस्ट, तो unbridled confidence is not good. My greatest strength, and I have no major, this is a kind of person who will make mistakes. I can handle any task to your, तो ये तीनों जो हैं ये ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस पे बॉर्डर हो रहे हैं, not really being mindful of the pitfalls, whereas this fellow says I believe in my abilities but I know my limitations and I'm ready to improve. I think author will agree with this. I think they also agree, so these were the right answer. और वन और देख लेते हैं. Locals often remark that even if you don't work at the factory, many of your friends do. Sprawling 6.5-kilometer complex lies next to AutoStart. Today, however, the plant has come to symbolize many of the main problems. Some of the main problems. Wolfsburg is less a city with a car factory than a factory around which the entire city has grown. When you arrive by train in Wolfsburg, Lower Saxony, so Wolfsburg kahan pe? Lower Saxony. So we can start with 5 here. The first site is a massive Volkswagen factory with an imposing VW logo and 4 tall chimneys. The sprawling 6.5 square kilometer complex. So ये फैक्ट्री के बारे में बोल रहा है. Lies next to AutoStart, theme park dedicated to automobiles. 2 पे जा सकते हैं. Wolfsburg is less than a city with car factories and factory around which city is grown, employing roughly 6,000 people, 60,000 people. Locals often remark, even if you don't work, many of your friends and half of your school class likely do. तो 5241 एक बढ़िया पैसेज बन जाएगा. 3 says, today, however, the plant has come to symbolize some of the main problems. This is should come in a different paragraph because this talks about a different idea कि इसमें प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, कुछ मेन प्रॉब्लम कार इंडस्ट्री की, तो ये अलग पैराग्राफ में आएगा. तो 5241 with 3 one logical question. Okay, let's go to the next. Okay, so let's look at this particular thing. ये कह रहा है, the fact that the ball could be dislodged when the wicket was struck made this preferable to the stump, which name was later applied to the hurdle uprights. ठीक है. Cricket is the ball, once presumably a stone, has remained much the same since the 17th century. Cricket is believed to have begun possibly as early as 13th century as a game in which country boys bowled at tree stump or at the hurdle gate into a sheep pen. Early manuscripts differ about the size of the wicket which acquired the third stump, but by 16th the area of this gate consisted of. So 3 से start कर सकते हैं इसको कि cricket is a game that would have begun as early as 13th century. ठीक है. In which the country boy bowled at a three stump or a hurdle gate. This gate, 3 के बाद 5 पे जा सकते हैं, consists of 2 uprights and a crossbar resting on slotted top. Crossbar was called a bail, entire gate a wicket. फिर उसके बाद में 4 पे आ सकते हैं, या bail and entire gate a wicket. The fact that bail could be dislodged when the wicket was struck made this preferable to stump, which name was later applied to hurdle uprights. ठीक है, यहाँ 1 पे भी आ सकते हैं. Early manuscripts differ about the size of the wicket, which acquired a third stump in 1770s, but by 1706 the pitch was these many yards long. The ball, once presumed a stone, has remained much the same since the 17th century. Its modern weight, I don't know, last में आएगा 2 बॉल के बारे में बात नहीं हुई है अभी तक। अभी तक बात हो रही थी विकेट की, थर्ड स्टंप की, बेल की, और पिच की, राइट। सो they not yet come to the ball, so ball may come in the end here, so the second becomes the odd note. ठीक है, this is also okay. This long-awaited showcase provides Indian audiences a rare opportunity to experience Dali's dreamlike imagination firsthand. Although the Spanish surrealist Dali never visited India, the exhibition is being held for the first time. So, this long-awaited showcase provides Indian audiences a rare opportunity. तो ये यहाँ पे आ सकता है वन में. The exhibition showcases 200 of his original sketches. Collection offers a glimpse into the artist's fascination with India. Uh, Dali was intrigued by India, particularly the West's obsession with Indian mysticism in the. तो ये continuation रहेगा. Artist fascination. He was intrigued by India. तो टू पे तो इसको नहीं आना चाहिए, right? टू पे नहीं आना चाहिए. Some sketches are inspired by photographs. Dali's India features elephants with these elements blend seamlessly. His works depict human. I think ये वन पे ही आएगा because this gives the background. Long awaited, provides Indian also rare opportunity. So this looks like it would come and let's sit in one. So this was a logical question. Okay, all right, no issues with this. And grown, just yet another para summary which I hate these people. The anthropologist Clifford Keats coined the term epocalism to name the anxious discourses of post-colonial states that had attained legal freedom but remained captive to the economic and political power of their former rulers. तो इपोकलिज्म है एक टर्म कि जो पोस्ट कलोनियल स्टेटस, जैसे इंडिया आफ्टर 1947 इज अ पोस्ट कलोनियल स्टेट. तो हमें लीगल फ्रीडम मिल गया लेकिन हम फिर भी कैप्टिव हैं इकोनॉमिक और पॉलिटिकल पावर के फॉर्मर रूलर्स की. मच लाइक ओल्ड इंपीरियलिज्म, neoliberal past will not be so easily transcended if the structure that it built over decades remain. Careful longitudinal research often reaches conclusions that are as truthful as they are tedious to public, demanding radical change. Even when we are trying to break free, we are always in the middle of history. Which अजीब सा passage है. Uh, so let's try to look at this. Uh, just a second here. Localism describes the struggles of post-colonial states that, despite legal independence, remain constrained by neoliberal structures, showing history is not easily transcended. So ठीक है, यहाँ तक epochalism describes the struggles of post-colonial states. Despite legal freedom or independence, they remain constrained by neoliberal structures, showing history is not easily transcended. Much like old imperialism, neoliberal past will not be so easily transcended, though remain constrained by neoliberal structures. With the structures that built over decades remain. Careful research often reaches conclusions that are as truthful as they are tedious. Even if we try to, we are always in the middle of history. ठीक है, ये कहने की कोशिश कर रहा है कि जो कंट्रीज हैं जो अभी भी कैप्टिव हैं उनके इकोनॉमिक और पॉलिटिकल पावर के, उसी तरह से तो वही इतनी आसानी से वो नहीं जाएगा. Despite legal independence, post-colonial states remain bound by economic and political structures, highlighting the enduring grip of imperialism on of neoliberalism. ये तो गलत है, distorted है यहाँ पे. Highlighting the enduring grip of imperialism of neoliberalism. This is nothing. This is like a distortion. Clifford Geertz, a concept of epochalism, explains how post-colonial nations, though legally free, remain entangled in historical power structures that hinder true autonomy. ट्रू ऑटोनॉमी वाली बात तो नहीं हो रही है यहाँ पे. दूसरा, इसकी क्लिफर्ड ब्रीड्स के कोई मतलब नहीं था. हाउ पोस्ट colonial nations though legally free. The persistence of neoliberal and imperialist structures demonstrate that post-colonial states, despite their independence, remain entirely trapped in ongoing. ये entirely trapped और ये सब थोड़ा गलत है, तो इसलिए इसमें इस सबको हटा के A looks to be the best among these. So this was okay. This was logical to some extent. So let's with the we reached the end. So let me try to identify how many questions I found really logical and how many were suspicious, vague, or downright wrong. So this was logical. This was logical. Right? So two so far. This was also logical, and this also was logical. So four questions we were able to find. Uh, uh, this is fine, logical, and this is also uh, logical. Okay, this is totally illogical. This is illogical, right? And this one, this is also logical, right? So with the साथ है atoms. So latter part was okay, I would say. Uh, let's go to this. This raises concerns. So this is totally illogical. This is illogical. Central idea of the passage is totally illogical here, as we had discussed. Significant ये भी illogical है, बिल्कुल है. This also was illogical. So in fact, इसमें से 3 questions illogical हो गए और ये चौथा is okay. This is logical. So we got 8 so far. Right? Out of 12, we got 8 so far. 13 rather. 8 so far. And let's go to this one. The controversy has this looks okay. Very logical. Means are humanist position. This is illogical. Not agree with this. Lived experience is shaped by so lived experience can enforce. ठीक है, this is okay and this is okay. So ये दोनों ठीक लग रहे हैं मुझे. Constitutes all of the ये भी ठीक है. This is also okay and this is also okay. तो इसके questions तो ठीक थे, logical थे. What about not an assumption? Illogical है. Overall tone is logical. ठीक है. This is logical. This is illogical. This is illogical. And this is also illogical. So, and this is also illogical. First question also was quite illogical, I would say. तो मुझे तो 13-14 क्वेश्चन ही दिखे जो कि लॉजिकल हैं. So almost 10-12 क्वेश्चन फॉर illogical this. And if you throw in that ये जो एक लॉजिकल 4 क्वेश्चन दिखे हमें in this particular lived experience वाला passage, वो बहुत difficult था and I don't think too many people would have done it. So with that, I would say that this was a pretty bad mock, and the better and the sooner you forget it, the better it is going to be. This is not at all representative, trust me. इस तरह की mock बिल्कुल cat में नहीं. Cat is not like this at all. Trust me, it is not even 20% like this. So take heart from that. That's it for today. Thank you so much.